I'm delighted to have Bill Clayton here with me today, who is the founder of York ME Community. Thank you so much for joining me and becoming a part of Leeds Millions Missing 2021. Bill runs York ME Community, which has been a hub of support and information for people with ME since being founded in 2016. The group has grown over the past 5 years and now has a website, Facebook and Twitter page where sufferers can access information 24/7. Bill, do you want to start off by telling me a little bit about the reason for starting York Community Group?
Yeah, no problem. It was really having gone through the process of being diagnosed myself, which took about 5 years. I soon realised that there was next to no support after you left the GP, where they couldn't do anything for you. Yes, we have the Yorkshire Fatigue Clinic, which is very good here as well, but again, they can only advise you on how to manage it. At that point, or at a point, they then say bye-bye. And it was just a case of realizing that there's so many people out there with ME that it just felt right to create some sort of support group so that they could get support from others in York that would understand.
That's fantastic, because I mean, I know a lot of people, it's kind of pacing and things, isn't it, that clinics can mostly offer. And with around 1,000 people in York actually suffering from ME, it has a huge impact on people's lives. I mean, how does it impact your life?
It's a daily thing, and I can't say from one day to the next how it's going to affect me. The last couple of days I've been very shaky. Earlier on today I tried to stand up and got funny looks because it took me about a minute to stand up because my legs weren't working for me. So different days, different symptoms, I'm afraid. Brain fog, which you'll know, I'm sure, enough about, but it's forgetting words, not being able to understand words, simple words, the physical side of it, having absolutely no energy. And it's not tiredness like people have a busy day at work. It's real, it's like being under a rugby scrum, and trying to stand up, if you like. It's
crippling, isn't it? It really is. But, well, fantastic. Well, so just tell me a little bit then, because obviously over the past few years, Leeds ME activism has kind of stepped up, and we've got to chat more and more. How important do you think it is for kind of neighbouring cities to join together in the fight for more better health equality for people with ME? How important do you think that is?
I think it's a great idea. I think what highlighted it for me was, I think it was last year or the year before, where the Leeds group were running a Missing Millions, I won't say demonstration, but event, where you were getting together, and I knew that my group weren't up to doing that, but a few of them went over and joined. So they felt they were doing something which made them feel good, and it boosted your numbers possibly slightly, not by many, but slightly. But I think it's the ideas that you can maybe share, things that we might find, oh, that works, you maybe haven't tried, or the other way around. So yeah, I think it'd be a great thing actually to have a bigger connection network, maybe in Yorkshire.
I couldn't agree more, because I mean, Yorkshire is the biggest county in England, and it's so important for us to be able to kind of chat to each other, see what's working in your city and what's working in ours. And I know that a lot of the activism that you do will rub off on us and help us as well. And because you've got kind of such a big following now for the group, it's only better that people have more and more kind of resources that they can go to. I mean, lockdown in general has affected people in so many different ways. Obviously, people with ME have been in their own kind of personal lockdown for years. But do you think that lockdown has affected people with ME?
Strangely, not really. Like you say, I think people with ME are already used to being housebound quite a fair bit of the time, and dare I say, we see some of it as a positive, in that those with long COVID have an overlapping set of symptoms to those with ME. And I think we can piggyback on the research that's coming out from long COVID, and we've got the chance to actually raise our voices at the moment, which I think a lot of people are doing, I'm certainly doing, and it's being heard. And I think we can take more positives, strangely, from this situation than negatives.
I think it's made a lot of things more accessible because people have been forced to do things online. People have been forced to have even silly things like deliveries. Everything has become more accessible for people. And I think people with ME are so often trapped inside their houses. Sometimes they're trapped inside their beds. And having kind of further accessibility for people is only going to be a good thing, and something that I hope once the pandemic has calmed down and lockdown has calmed down, that actually those things stay and people can still access them. And I know that you yourself have been really busy throughout the pandemic trying to better the support for people with ME, such as fighting for them to get placed into priority group 6 for the vaccine. So do you want to tell me a little bit more about that and about what you've been doing to try and help people?
Well, really, it was just annoying to start with, the fact that we weren't being recognised in the group that we should be recognised in. It's stated in all the documentation that came out that we are a neurological illness, can't even say the word properly now, that condition should be in group 6, and yet we were being ignored. So I was getting messages out to our local MPs, councillors, all the GP practices in York, saying what's going on here. It was useful that we had the template from the ME Association, which highlighted these things, pushed that out to everybody as well. But a lot of my group, especially that I'd spoken to, it wasn't working. I had a conversation, a good long chat with the chairman of Nimbus Care, who run 11 GP practices in York, and he apologised for his hands being tied, but because the fact that word had come from above that it was a GP's decision, he wasn't allowed to change that, and it was therefore down to GPs. And again, frustration that a number of GPs don't treat ME patients as they should do.
No, I know so many people were finding it frustrating because every kind of organisation that could was fighting for this, and people were having their own personal battles just to be able to kind of speak to their GP, because everyone was kind of so busy and overran that even getting that phone call to try and argue why you should be in group 6, that itself was a struggle. And then it was very much up to the GP and their understanding of ME. I myself was really lucky. I know a few other people were as well, but the overwhelming story that you were hearing from people was that they were struggling to get on group 6. I know there's people still now that haven't been able to do that. And for people, for instance, like myself, who are much younger, who are in kind of their 20s, they're going to be waiting an awful long time for the vaccine. And it's appalling, really. And I know that ME Action themselves are doing as much as they can, the ME Association are, but there's only so much they can do. At the end of the day, it rests with the GP at the moment, and it's potluck who your GP is.
Yeah.
And
go on.
No, go on.
Well, I was just going to say that if I thought of it earlier, it might have been a good exercise to understand and make a list of those GPs who weren't putting people forward. And then know that they're the ones that need educating.
Yeah.
Well, as a follow-up to this, that's the people that we should be targeting and saying, look, you with being a doctor, it's part of your remit to stay educated in whatever illnesses are out there. And hey, this is a biggie, and you should know about this for your patients that come to your practice looking for help.
Definitely. When you've got so many people across the UK who have ME, it's such a big disease to not be educated on. And with the kind of the revamp of the NICE guidelines and then drafting those at the minute, it's about keeping up to date with currently what the understanding is of ME, and the understanding is that it should be in Group 6. However, not all GPs are kind of up to date with that, which is heartbreaking for a lot of people. And then on to a happier note, how are you planning to celebrate Millions Missing this year? I know you'd mentioned before that kind of you haven't got capacity to be able to organise anything in York. So how are you planning to celebrate the day?
I think most of the day I'll be sat with a laptop on social media and pushing out the message. What I'm hoping will happen on that day, I've recorded a couple of interviews, and I've got another radio interview to do with York Mix Radio, which is going out on the 12th, I hope, fingers crossed, all going well. And also the council are going to be looking to light up one of the public buildings in blue in York. So the idea would be make sure I get pictures of that over the week, and I'll be pushing them out to various groups, and again, just anything that's going to raise awareness and let people know what we're all about.
I mean, that all sounds fantastic. So finally, do you have a message that you'd like to share kind of on behalf of the York ME community group? Anything that you'd like to say to people who maybe haven't accessed your support before?
Well, nothing really, other than just to say that we are here for people in the York area who want to learn more about it, need support, families, who are worried maybe about their kids. Is it ME that they have? They might have a doctor who's unsympathetic to this condition, and anybody who wants to reach out, I'm here for them. And it doesn't necessarily mean to join the group. You can go to the website, and my contact details are there if they want to just get in touch directly and we can chat.
I think talking to each other is one of the biggest things, because often people with ME can feel so isolated because one, people don't always understand, and two, there isn't always kind of that information to access. It can often be hard to actually find where all that information is in one place. So I think it's great work that you're doing. But thank you so much, Bill, for talking to me today and sharing some of the incredible work that you're doing for people with ME in York. I know it makes a huge difference. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much.